Spring sports finally come out of hibernation and tennis gains some unprecedented momentum. Hello, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Dana Pecora. Men's golf is gaining momentum this spring season with senior PJ Asierno finding his sweet spot. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. Spring sports are in full swing, no pun intended, golf fans, as I am very excited for them and their A10 endeavors, but also to welcome back to the desk, Miss Dana Pecora.
Thanks, Anna. We've got a jam-packed show as we sit down with the fastest man at LaSalle, Chris Sanders, on his intercontinental athletic expeditions.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3. Look at that beautiful top 3. All right, well, number 1, it looks like the guy we called for our interim athletic director has passed the countless number of physical and mental brain game challenges to reign supreme as LaSalle's official athletic director. Ditching the interim title, Bill Bradshaw is back in action with his second term in the director's chair. He has a pretty impressive career under his belt, and his journey actually started at LaSalle first as a student and then as the director from 1976 to 1986. During that stretch, LaSalle basketball won 28 conference championships, 3 Commissioner's Cups, and made a number of NCAA appearances. Bill, what a guy. We are psyched to have Mr. Bradshaw back at the helm of our athletics.
And number 2, the NCAA tournament is heating up for this weekend's Final Four matchups and championship games. South Carolina University is in a groove with their men's team making their first ever Final Four appearance and their women's basketball team making their second Final Four appearance. North Carolina kept up with their southern rival as UNC made the men's Final Four with by far the most experience, being their 20th appearance. While UNC faces Oregon on Saturday, South Carolina challenges Gonzaga in the battle of the 2 first-timers in Phoenix, Arizona. The winners will compete on Monday, April 3rd for the championship. For the women, South Carolina faces Stanford on Friday, while Mississippi State has a tough one against the UConn Huskies, who are currently holding over a 100-game winning streak. The victors of these matchups will face off Sunday in Dallas, Texas.
Wow, thanks, Dana. Yeah. Well, number 3 is PJ Asierno, and he's really good at golf. While some students get senioritis, PJ Asierno seems to be transcending time and space as he rounds out his last semester. Asierno pulled off a 5th place finish at the Towson Invitational on March 26th. This is his second individual title this season, and it's mildly miserable out here. On top of that, LaSalle's golf team stepped up to the occasion at Towson, earning an 11th place finish out of 22 teams. They also beat out Columbia, and Cornell. That's right, LaSalle beat some Ivy Leagues, which I think by association makes us
Definitely.
Ivy League.
Oh yeah, we're right up there.
Well, props to PJ and his Asiernos. Keep it up there. So that brings us over to our recaps. And it might as well start it off with some bad news.
Bad news. Well, women's lacrosse took on High Point University on Friday, March 24th, as the last game before A10 play. It didn't look too reassuring. High Point meant business, scoring 3 goals in the first 7 minutes. However, Tony Massetti, Courtney Wolford, and Brittany Edwards all answered back, keeping the game locked at 3-3. That would be the last time, though. The Explorers were close as High Point ran away with the lead. By the end of the first half, it was 11-6, despite 4 goals from Massetti. High Point kept control and ran out the clock for a win of 17-11. Ugh. Goalies Lynn Frankel and Lucy Laughlin just couldn't pull it together this game. Hopefully we'll be in a better place as we take on George Mason as they head to the start of A10 play.
Well, it was a big weekend for rowing with the 35th Memorial Murphy Cup Regatta hosted by Temple. Over 40 schools hit the Schuylkill on Saturday, including LaSalle. The men kicked things off by winning the second heat of the Varsity 4, beating both Fordham A and Lehigh's squads, guaranteeing them a spot in the finals. The Explorers fought hard in the finals, falling just 4 seconds behind Temple and 5 seconds from second place UNC, finishing 4th of the 6th. Colgate won the finals by 20 seconds over everyone else. After that, the men's Varsity 8 was was in the first heat and finished 4th out of 5 teams and did not qualify for the finals. The women must have still been frozen from last week, coming out slow in the women's novice 4, finishing last in their heat, and then the women's varsity 8 remained in the ice, coming in 4th of 4 teams in their heat. Tough week for the women's rowers. I think they just need to let it go.
I love the Frozen reference. But after suffering a heartbreaking defeat at Penn, softball looked to open A10 play with a bang, starting with a trio of games on the road at George Mason. In Game 1, Marlowe Roadcap pitched 5 shutout innings, but gave up a triple to George Mason's Mary Luttrell, who gave the Patriots a 2-0 lead. The Patriots would maintain that lead and take Game 1. In the second game, the Explorers came out swinging, scoring 9 runs to take Game 2 in a dominating fashion. The Explorers got the bats flying early with junior Taylor Rohrbaugh singling to center field to score Angelina Raffice. LaSalle took the lead and never looked back, scoring 7 more unanswered runs. Freshman starter Riley Gerhardt secured the win for the Explorers, pitching 4 scoreless innings. Unfortunately, the Explorers would not fare as well in the Game 3 as they were shut out 4-0. In the final game, George Mason put up 4 runs against Marlowe Roadcap. The Explorers tallied 5 hits but were unable to score any runs, proving their efforts to be feckless in Fairfax.
Well, baseball took on A10 opponent VCU in a 3-game set. The Rams bats were on fire, tallying 16 hits and scoring 8 runs on the day. LaSalle's offense was struggling, crossing the plate only once. VCU took an 8-1 win. And Game 2 was hard to watch as the Rams offense continued to shine, scoring 7 runs on 15 hits. LaSalle struggled in key situations and were not able to get the job done, resulting in a 7-0 loss. The Explorers were hoping to turn things around in Game 3, but were unable to do so. The one bright spot for the Explorers was Austin Constantini. The junior went 3 for 3 and pitched 1.2 scoreless innings, recording 1 strikeout. Unfortunately, LaSalle was not able to get the job done and fell short with a final score of 3-0.
The men's tennis team bounced right back from their loss to Temple on Friday with a match against Siena on Saturday. The men came blazing with a solid sweep in doubles play. The momentum continued into their singles play with senior Brian Balico followed doubles with a strong win in the second position. The Explorers went on to beat Siena 5-2. However, they quickly fell into the struggle bus against Chestnut Hill Wednesday, only gaining 1 point from senior Brian Balico in the second position. The women's tennis team similarly started the week against the Broom, getting swept by Siena on Saturday. Then they quickly rebounded against Chestnut Hill. The Explorers fell early in doubles play, but found their way back, taking the other 2 double matches. The back end of the blue and gold lineup came up big as they won the last 3 singles matches. The Explorers would come out with a 6-3 victory.
All right. Well, a tough weekend brought about 3 losses for the women's water polo team as they took part in the 3-game MAAC weekend hosted by Marist College. The women traveled to New York and competed against Iona College on Saturday, losing 17-4. Marist College losing 26-1, and St. Francis Brooklyn on Sunday losing 24-8. During the first game of the day versus Iona, freshmen Anna Cho, Caitlin Kubo, and Stephanie Morales and Casey Cios all scored 1 goal apiece during the tough Iona match. Later that day, Paige Neary gave the Explorers only 1 goal of the game against Marist College and led the scoring the following day against St. Francis Brooklyn with 4 goals. Morales contributed 3 goals and Kubo won despite falling to St. Francis on Sunday. The Explorers will take on 3 more MAAC teams this weekend in an attempt to strengthen their 1-8 record.
The men's golf team competed at the Towson Invitational on Saturday, March 25th and Sunday, March 26th in Graysonville, Maryland. As a team, the Explorers finished 11th out of the 22 schools that participated in the event. Once again, the leader for LaSalle was none other than PJ Asierno. Asierno closed out another stellar week of golf with a 5th place finish at Towson. He shot a 74 on the final day at Prospect Bay Country Club. He also came within 3 shots of medalist Daniel Brennan from Bethune-Cookman. As for other standouts, on Sunday, freshman Evan Gaser matched Asierno for low round of the day by a LaSalle golfer by shooting a 1 over par on both the front and back 9. He would finish 18th out of the 149 competitors.
All right. Well, at the Stony Brook Quad Meet, the men's team opened up their outdoor season to a hearty silver medal. The men's track team took second in a field against Iona, Stony Brook, Columbia, and Providence. Top point earners for LaSalle was junior Justin Guerre, who took the top spot in the 100 meter, and Brendan Robertson taking third in the 1500 meter. For the women, it was field events that clocked in at the top spots. Amber Jackson placed first in the long jump, and Jessica Bryant took the top spot in the triple jump. Our favorite long distance runner, Morgan Zeckley, took the second in the 3,000 meter, while Michelle Milan debuted her season for 11th.
And that wraps up our recaps for the week. And Anna, it's good that you just talked about track, because when we come back, we get the scoop on men's track phenom Chris Sanders, and it's a goodie. Stick around.
We love LaSalle TV.
I love that new show, Flip.
I gotta keep up, so news you can use has to be my favorite.
I love LaSalle sports, so SportsLine is my favorite TV show.
We love LaSalle TV.
I love that new show with the psychology department, Relationships 101.
I love Backstage Pass. It's my favorite show.
We love LaSalle TV.
Sports Talk Philadelphia.
Q&A, I love that show.
It's gotta be LaSalle TV News.
I love LaSalle TV.
My name is Caitlin. I'm 6 years old. I like to go to the beach with my cousins. When I was a baby, I was very sick. And then I got a liver transplant from an organ donor. He saved my life.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back. Men's track is in full swing for their outdoor season, so we decided to talk to a men's track runner that made all kinds of headlines last year after some of the best performances of his career. Let's throw it over to Jake Smolinski for On the Sidelines.
Hello and welcome to another edition of On the Sidelines. I'm your host, Jake Smolinski, and I'm sitting down here with one of the most iconic LaSalle athletes, Chris Sanders. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
No. And so I guess, first of all, like, you are one of the premier 800 runners that LaSalle, I feel like, has ever had. And this past season, especially like outdoor season, you had one of the craziest journeys that extended so far beyond just the regular season. You snagged the A10 championships, and then please, just can you give me like a quick summary of what the heck even happened?
Well, yeah, we won the A10 championships in the 4x8, and also I won the Open 800 meter and the A10 championships. And then after that, I moved on to the NCAA preliminary rounds in Jacksonville, Florida, where I ran 2 rounds, 147 and 146, to make it out to nationals in Eugene, Oregon. And in Eugene, Oregon, I ran nationals, and I made it into the final just by .01 with like a lean in at the line.
Gotcha.
And yeah.
Then then you said also the Olympic trials came, or is that nationals? Like, I'm so.
Oh, well.
Okay. Am I getting ahead of the story on this?
Yeah. Well, nationals, I became an All-American, and then I got invited to Olympic trials where I ran against the professional athletes in the United States. And it was like a really great experience. Like, I was nerve-wracking. Like, they were like just as competitive as I am, but they're just getting paid for it.
Yeah. So okay, wait, you gotta just slow this down like a hot sec. All right, let's take a look back at nationals. So even for a runner in the college domain, to get to nationals, I feel like is a huge deal. And first, what was it like to get on just the stage up there in Oregon, right?
It was cool. Like, Oregon is like the mecca of all like tracks, because like Prefontaine ran at the University of Oregon, and it's like a really iconic track as well. So it was just great. The like audience was like cheering for everyone. Like, they just love track down there. Everyone down there is like runners. They all like run around Oregon and stuff.
It's literally a race, like just surrounded, just runners everywhere. Like, oh, it's wild. And so then I guess you're getting like asked to do like the whole like the U.S. like trials and stuff, then so you're going up against some of these professional athletes. What is it like, I guess, towing the line, like, and getting ready to just to race?
Basically, my mindset is like I'm gonna go right back at them, just like they're gonna come at me. So, but it was a good experience. Like I know for next time, like I have experience like coming into it, and I know what to do, and I know what it's like. So, yeah, it's really exciting.
And I guess like there's also another whole thing, like you were in another country?
Yeah. Well, I went to El Salvador for the NACAC U23 championship where I ran for Team USA, and they recruited a bunch of like the top tier NCAA athletes to run there, and I represented like our country in El Salvador. So it was cool, like running through the 400 and they like yell out your split like cuatro, like they would say like the number, like going through the 400, like what you ran through, and I was like, it would be so cool, like.
That is wild. And like, I guess, what was it like to run also in like another country? Have you ever done that before?
No,
like,
it was my first time in another country. Like, I was eating like the food and stuff. It was great. Like, you couldn't drink the water in El Salvador. That was a problem, but it was a really good experience. And you see how like other people live in like a different place.
So I'm sorry, but you're just drinking nothing but Gatorade, I'm guessing, sponsored Gatorade.
Yeah, or like the water bottles that they brought. But it was like nice to like you appreciate your life like in the USA, like when you see how like the El Salvadorians are and everything. But it's kind of dangerous there. But it was a great experience running track, and on the podium they let you like hold the flag for like the United States and stuff. It was great.
That's so cool to kind of feel like you're on like the world stage, man. And I guess then taking just another step back. Okay, what is the deal with the 800? Like, tell me about, like, that's a really interesting race to be specialized in.
Yeah, well, it's a really tough race. Like, you have to have the perfect amount of speed and endurance, and you got to have like heart to like get you around the track 2 times and just go after it. Like, you have to chase the entire way and just try to win it.
And so then what is your best time that you've had?
I ran a 146.52.
Okay, and what is, okay, so 146.52 for 800 meters. And then for say like 400 meters, what is the split on that then? Do you know? Like, is that like?
I went out in like 51, 52.
Okay. So 51 seconds for a 400 meter, and then like another, like, that is, for anybody that's watching, do you realize how insanely fast this is? That's like holy cow. Yeah, and so like where did you kind of fall in love with the 800 race? Or are you in love with it? Do you just do it because like what?
It's a love-hate relationship, to be honest. Like in practice, like it's grueling, like it's blood, sweat, and tears. But when I get on the track, it's just cake. Oh, man. It's fun. Well, 146 is not cake, but if you train hard enough.
Yeah, and then so what is going on right now? So we're getting there, like LaSalle's kind of ready for the outdoor season going in now. But what's your plan for?
Okay, so this season I'm basically redshirting. My outdoor season I'll run a few races unattached. But this upcoming like summer, I'm going to be running in the U.S. Championships, and if I place top 3, I'll be able to move on to London for a World Championship team. So.
Whoa, that is really crazy. And I guess it's like my last question is, how are you? I guess mentally processing all of this, like.
Basically, I'm just going with the flow right now, and I'm gonna like wear a chip on my shoulder and make sure like I race hard when the race comes.
Heck yeah. Chris, thank you so much for coming out on the sidelines. Wish you the best of luck with everything, because this is absolutely insane, all these experiences you're getting to have. And we at SportsLine will be keeping up with you and trying to figure out what's next. So
thanks for having me. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, well, thanks, Chris. And that is it for this edition of On the Sidelines. Back to the desk.
So that was such a great interview. Chris was so awesome. I loved his determination and his attitude about, practicing hard, but yet he's so humble. I just kind of love that about him. He was like, it's kind of like a business trip. Like that's all. I loved that about him.
Yeah, I mean, to hear what he had to say, and the fact that he was like taking this very seriously and not just, well, this is a fluke. No, like I am representing LaSalle. I'm representing the country. I'm carrying the banner. I just think that's so great to see out of an athlete, and because a lot of these athletes, especially the runners, they'll compete here at school, and then once they graduate, they're done. But Chris sees this as a springboard and something that he can go on and continue his career.
Yeah, and it's something he definitely doesn't take lightly. He was like the blood, sweat, and tears in practice. He knows he's got to put in the work, and that was That's awesome. So I was excited for him. I really hope that, you know, he does well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dana. Thank you, Jake. And
Thank you.
when we come back, we will have some great chatter, some great commentary with Mr. Josh Abrams for the Explorer Report. Stick around.
Three, two, one, action. You may think a guy would be producing this, but I can too. Anyone can find a cure.
Women are being downgraded for their physical ability, but you can be just as strong.
%20 of women are engineers, but it doesn't stop there.
I'm a tech girl. I'm a tech girl.
I am a tech girl.
I am a tech girl.
I see my friends out there getting waves. It's like, it's hard. It was a surprise to me when they told me I had MS. It's like, you sure?
Well, this is a virtual reality rig, and this is going to allow Steve to see and experience the waves that I ride.
Put that on your head. Whoa.
Welcome back. There is plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let us welcome the birthday boy, Josh Abrams, for this week's Explorer Report.
Thank you, Anna. For this week's Explorer Report, our LaSalle softball team travels to New York to take on A10 rival St. Bonaventure in a 3-game series this weekend. The Explorers currently hold a record of 10 wins and 11 losses overall, with a 1-2 record in A10 play. Meanwhile, the Bonnies have 7 wins and 18 losses overall and have not played any conference games yet. The Explorers will need to be on the lookout for Bonnie standout sophomore Alexandra Pierre-Gustavo, who leads the team with 21 hits and is second on the team with a .309 batting average. A10 games are so crucial at any point of the season, and in order for our Explorers to perform well against the Bonnies this weekend, they will need hefty contributions from junior Taylor Rohrbaugh and senior Susie Swanick and Christina Bascara. These 3 players will need to lead the way at the plate and get the bats going early. Last but not least, the Bonnies have lost 6 out of their last 7 games and are clearly in a slump right now, making this a golden opportunity for the Explorers to get back in the win column.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, softball is, we're kind of in a weird place right now because we're having these inconsistent games. Right. But as you said, I mean, the Bonnies are struggling right now. What do you think is really gonna help us take that next step and be able to beat the Bonnies?
Well, it's all going to start with how we perform at the plate. Anna.
Okay.
You know, Taylor Rohrbaugh, as I just mentioned, she has a .310 batting average with 2 home runs on the season, tied for first on the team. So we're not really much of a power hitting team. Mm-hmm. However, she is, I think, third on the team with 13 hits, and she is our power hitter, it looks like. And then Christina Bascara, the senior third baseman, has a .270 batting average and is leading the team with 17 hits, 9 RBIs, 24 total bases. So it looks like she's going to be the leader there as well, contact-wise.
Yeah, well, it looks like this team is going to be able to, we're still in the process of growing. We have a long season ahead of us. A10 just started, as you said. So we're going to definitely be looking out for them. But now it is time for Picks of the Week in a way more, relaxed fashion. All right, here we go. Pick number 1, Women's Golf Invitational at Delaware State on Friday, March 31st. Freshman Rebecca Smith is currently leading the Explorers, and we're in a pretty tough position for the inaugural season. We're having a lot of growing pains, and we're sitting at the bottom of each event that we've been to. We are showing improvement, though. At the previous Invitational, they shaved off 30 strokes a round in a day on day 2 of the competition. Do we have any inspirational words for them? I mean,
they just gotta tough it out. Honestly, they're a new team. There's hope. There's always hope. You tough it out. Keep on swinging.
There is always hope. This is a team that's going to be showing a lot of endurance. We saw a lot of endurance out of them doing that really tough season or series where they just 3 in a row.
They'll get there.
They'll get there. I believe in them.
Growing pains, but you know, we all go through them.
It's a coming of age for women's water polo. Well, pick number 2, women's lacrosse versus George Mason on Friday, March 31st as well. It is going to be a wild start to the season. LaSalle is sitting at 4-4, and George Mason is sitting at 4-4 as well. When A10 play starts, there is no idea how these teams are going to stack up. Massetti is keeping it consistent, but we do need some consistent play from our defense and goalies to back up this offense. And we got to keep the midfield possessions. What do you think?
So I think the most important thing to remember here is that anything can happen when A10 play starts. You know, this team is at 4-4. George Mason's at 4-4. This could go anyway. You know, any team can win on any given day when A10 play starts. So let's hope that you know, our goalies can back up our offense. And you know, I think we got it. I think we got this.
Josh?
Yeah, going off of what Dana said, anything can happen. It is sports. You know, a 1-20 team could beat a 20-1 team. So you really don't know what's going to happen, and that's the beauty of you know, leading up to any game.
That's true. That's very true, Josh. Well, pick number 3, men's golf at the Manor Intercollegiate Tourney on Saturday, April 1st. Is PJ Asiano going to go for his 3rd consecutive individual title? Is youngin' Evan Gaser going to knock him out of that top spot? We're competing the best we have in years. We have these 2 really strong power players down in Virginia. I think we're past the point of proving ourselves. We're at the point where we are a competing team. We're established at this point. Our scores just keep getting better. And Brad Kane, Coach Brad Kane, we got to trust the process.
We got to trust Coach Brad's process.
We got to make like Philly fans and trust the process. I think we're going to see another strong performance from Asiano. I think we're going to see Gaser just continue that long run. And I think that just about wraps it up. I got the swing. So if you can't make it out to see the marquee matchup, be sure to tune in. That's the Explorer Report. Be sure to tune in next week for our coverage and keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
For Jake and our SportsLine team, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Dana Pecora. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you at the game.